topics from contemporary Black voices. I'm Ohio State University, and he's tough. No, I'm Chris Dawkins. And this is the New York Times bestselling author, Caleb Alexander. And we're going to pursue some topics today that are hot topics. And the one we're going to start with is going to be, can you believe Louisiana is coming up with putting the 10 Commandments in every school in their system? That is a subject that I think everybody is talking about in America. Me personally, I don't think that it's, I'm for the 10 Commandments, but however, when you talk about keeping church and state separate in America, I'm not so sure that that's the way to go in school, because America is a melting pot of different societies. So you've got Buddhists, you've got Muslims, you've got Catholics, you've got Israelites, not Israelites, but the Jewish religion. So you've got several different religions that are there. So when you make somebody recite the 10 Commandments, or you have the 10 Commandments and you're trying to force that on some kids in your school, that may not be what the other kids want to see. And our Constitution says freedom of religion. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Mr. Caleb?
No, I agree with you 100%. So I don't think this is going to last. I think the courts are definitely going to overturn this. It's clearly a violation of the separation between church and state.
Well, I think one of the reasons they wanted to do this is they wanted to get it in front of the Supreme Court to let the Supreme Court decide. And with the way this conservative Supreme Court is, they might be able to get it through. I don't think that they will be able to. I don't think it's prudent for them to do so, but it's at least a possibility for them to do.
Yeah, I mean, and again, even the jokers that we have right now in the courts.
He called them jokers.
I mean, you know, it's clear. It's a clear violation of church and state, and so I think even with these guys, they'll go ahead and strike this down and reverse that decision by Louisiana. And also you have to understand it's going to open the door, because think about these folks. One of the things they don't want is the Muslims to be able to put the tenets of Islam in every classroom, or even all the tenets of Judaism or Buddhism or Hinduism or all the stuff, Shintoism, all the stuff that you touched on. The next thing you know, they'll have the tenets of gay pride and or you know what I mean, or how about the 10-point program for the Black Panthers, you know what I mean? Right. So if we're gonna start putting stuff on the walls, you know what I mean, where does it stop? They don't want to open that door. So I think,
you know, and I never thought about that. I guess you're saying that if you've got a primarily Jewish area, they could actually put whatever, I don't know what the equivalent to 10 Commandments are with the Torah is, but they could put that on the wall as well.
Yeah. Well, like I say, we could, especially in Louisiana where you have that enormous Black population, we can put the Black Panthers 10-point program. So I don't think they're gonna open that. They don't want to open that door. They don't want to open that door, or even a nation to come in and put their tenets on the wall. You know what I mean? It's a political statement more than anything else, but legally it is not going to stick.
You're opening up a Pandora's box with being able to do that. I think that we can probably move on now. What do you think?
Yeah, because I think this one's a done deal.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna last.
So the second topic that we want to talk about is the HBCUs in, I think it's North Carolina or South Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina. They're wanting to merge Shaw University along with, I think it's Augustine?
St.
Augustine College, so that they can grab the land. Right. That's absurd, right, to be able to want to do that.
Right. So this is gentrification on steroids. So Shaw University has occupied this territory since 1865. That's been their university's location. So you have these greedy white developers from Raleigh who are trying to force, their statement said that we don't need 2 HBCUs. So they're trying to move Shaw University onto St. Augustine University and take all the land from Shaw University and redevelop it.
But who is the they that's saying they don't need that? They can't speak for us.
Hey,
They can't speak. You know, and the one thing that really needs to be looked at is Houston Tillison. We're broadcasting from Texas right now. So if you look at Houston Tillison in Austin, if anybody could make the case, Houston Tillison better be doing whatever they can do to make sure that this doesn't happen, because I'm sure the people in Austin will want that land where Houston Tillison is.
Can I give you some news that you might not be aware of?
Oh, no. Hey,
Let me give you some news that you might not be aware of.
Don't be bringing me no bad news, man. What?
Greg Abbott has placed his wife on Houston Tillison's board.
What?
Yes. Governor Greg Abbott's wife is now a member of Houston Tillison's board. So you talk about getting ready for a setup for a land grab. Greg Abbott's wife is now on the board. This is the guy who has tried to take funds away from HBCUs, who was against diversity, equity, inclusion, who was against any kind of affirmative actions or any kind of race-based admissions. The same guy who forced them to close the DEI departments of every university in Texas has placed his wife on the board of an HBCU.
When did they slip that in, Caleb?
I saw it about 2 days ago. So it happened probably about 2 days ago it happened. She is now on the board of Houston Tillison.
Well, Houston Tillison, I guess you see the writing on the wall.
Right.
So some people, we do a paper called Black Life Texas, and we do Black Life Austin. We need to probably put that in the paper as well, that is happening. That's something that everybody should know about.
Yeah, I will definitely write that article, because it is, and again, it begs the question, like, why? And then when you take a look at what's going on in Raleigh, and you see Shaw University, you see them, it's a blatant land grab, overt. They aren't even hiding it. They're saying they don't need it. We need that. We want that land.
I would like to direct people also back to our earlier show where we talked about the future of black man in America. And I think that as we're talking about this and we're looking at all of the assaults that's on the black man all over the country, when you're talking about trying to grab the land for HBCUs, when you talk about putting the governor's wife on an HBCU board, you know, like you said, that is definitely a setup. There are different things that are coming down the line where we're being assaulted on all fronts. But as you mentioned in the last segment, we're not doing anything about it because we need to look in the mirror and decide when we're going to really stand up for what we believe. So I hope that people go back and look at that as well. And one of the last topics that we wanted to talk about is, was it the Fletcher study?
McKinsey.
McKinsey. The McKinsey study.
Right.
I don't know that much about it. Can you explain what
So,
that is?
the McKinsey Institute, they do a lot of stuff on black wealth, black economics. And so this latest study, McKinsey is saying that it's going to take over 3 centuries, so over 300 years for black households to catch up to white households to gain economic parity. So basically they were saying that the wealth gap is not closing. So it is, as a matter of fact, it is expanding. It's been expanding of late. So even with if we do make positive changes, it'll still take over 300 years for us to catch up black household income and black household wealth to catch up to white households.
Can I let you in on a secret, Caleb?
Don't be bringing me no bad news.
I can't wait 300 years.
Yeah.
Can't wait no 300 years. If that's how long it's going to take, I got to figure out a new path. Because 300 years is not going to do it.
Yeah.
So,
what do we do?
That's disheartening, Caleb.
Right. More than 300 years for us to close that gap. So that kind of tells you where we are today economically, which again ties into our earlier topic of what we're going to do in the state of Black America. And we are in a very precarious state. And again, it goes back to our earlier statements about economics. What are we going to do economically to close that gap, to gain the political power to further make those changes that we need to make. So we need to definitely make sure it doesn't. We can close that gap in a lot less time than 300 years. You know what I mean?
And you're only talking about the economic gap, I think, if I'm correct. So if we close the gap from holding office, becoming CEOs.
Well, I think they're all intertwined. So in order to close the economic gap, the first thing is you have to close the education gap. You know what I mean? Because without education, you're not going to close that economic gap. You know, we can only turn out so many baseball players and football players, and they ain't going to get the job done. So it's going to take a fundamental restructuring of black economics. You know what I mean? It's going to take thousands of, millions, engineers and doctors and lawyers. And I mean, we're just going to have to fundamentally restructure black economics in this country in order to close that wealth gap.
Wow. Okay. So the only thing I guess we can do to really combat this is we're going to have to bring out a super Negro for hockey.
No,
They will really lose their mind.
Yeah, that ain't getting it done. That ain't getting it done. So, no, we got to definitely, like I say, it's a reevaluation of our priorities. Make sure those kids are doing what they're supposed to do in school. Make sure they can go to school. Make sure they continue their education. And so we're going to have to raise black income levels in order to close that gap. And the only way you're going to raise those income levels is through an investment in education. It doesn't even have to be formal education. You know what I mean? Just education. Kids can go to school, be programmers. They can go take a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-month course and learn programming, all the different programs that are out there. But again, it's going to take time and investment and encouragement. And you have to get these kids, you know what I mean? Because there's two paths, you know what I mean? And one path we definitely don't want them to be on. So we definitely going to have to close it. Again, closing the economic gap is good. We're going to have to close the education gap first.
Well, that has been Hot Topics for us for today, for Saturday, June 22nd. And I think I got the date right. Okay. If I didn't, please forgive me. But anyway, we'd like to thank again Avista Products for being able to put us on the air, to be able to allow us to have this platform for this, to tell our story our way. We'd like to thank Linnell Taylor, and we'd like to thank Carl, I got ready to say Caleb Alexander, Carl Booker. And we want to thank you. And wherever you are, if you're around, please pick up some of our products, which is the Black Book, or pick up the Black Life Texas newspaper, which is in San Antonio as well as Austin. Also, remember, for our show, please hit the like button, leave your comments, and also hit the bell to be able to know when we're coming back on the air. So unless you have any further comments.
One more. I just want to remind them again to watch next week's show.
What's next shoot?
Next week we're gonna have Dr. Sharon back. We may have Professor Williams back, and we are going to cover this phenomenon, this black woman phenomenon, where they're marrying and leveling up. And one of the interesting statistics are that black women married to white men have a 44% less chance of divorce, though they stay married longer. So we're gonna have to examine this phenomenon. They also do better economically. So that's another statistic. So black women married to white men do better than white men married to white women. So we have to do a real big deep dive into that next week. So definitely stay tuned for next week's show. It's gonna be a very exciting show.
And the only way you're gonna know is to hit that bell so that you get notifications when we go online. And you get that in your mailbox to make sure that you know when we're going online. But we'd like to thank you on behalf of Contemporary Black Voices, and this was Hot Topics. And we will see you next week, where Contemporary Black Voices tells our story our way. All right. Thank goodness.